I'm sleepy today. I made a cup of tea. I'm hanging out here with Baby B. I was stretching in the bed. And BB came up and he just laid his head on me and I was like, well, I guess I'm not going anywhere for a little while. Well, I guess I'm not moving. It's in the front of mind for today. Oh, I ate a lot of Chinese food for lunch and then I got sleepy. That's what's at the front of my mind today. We've got a special guest here in the studio today. Check this out. Special guest here. Get that camera out of my face. How big he is. Putting glutamate in all the food service business. Good. You know what MSG stands for? Make shit good. I didn't make it to the gym earlier. I'm gonna try to go this afternoon. Try to keep up on the routine. Mm, 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 mm. Mm, mm, mm. Gotta wake up a little. I've just been feeling so sleepy today. Beavis, can you not adjust my volume? Can you? A little volume knob on my desk and he just likes to turn it. Therapy time. Therapy time. I'm giving myself a minute to wake up a little. I took a little mini nap before stream today. I was doing some stretching in the bedroom, and Beaver came in, and he said, "Oh, we're napping?" And he curled up with me. He started using me as a pillow, and I was like, okay, I'm not going anywhere for a minute. When a cat comes and lays on you, it's like, you're stuck. You're stuck there for a few. Such a sweet boy. It's just stretched out on my disc. Just can't help it. Just look at it. How am I supposed to get anything done? How am I supposed to get anything done with... What do I think of clawless cats? Honestly, if you're gonna get a cat, you just need to get it with the understanding that some of your furniture might get fucked up. But I give my cats plenty of scratching posts, so they don't really scratch on the furniture, so it's not really a problem. There is one chair, though, that they love to scratch, but it was like an old used chair that we got for free. Like, one of our friends gave it to us, so it's not really a big deal that they turned it into the cat chair. But yeah, I don't support declawing your cats, because it doesn't just remove their claws, it removes the entire first digit of their paw. So that would be like cutting off all of the tips of your fingers. Also, I've heard that it gives them arthritis. This Earl Grey tea is really hitting the spot right now. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I feel the life. I feel the life slipping back into me. I feel my soul slowly re-entering my body. Oh, hello. Is this what we're doing now? I can't see through you. You're too big. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with this cat. Oh. Alright. I'll work around you. I think it'll be more of a chill day today. Because I've just been feeling kind of, Casey was feeling a little bit under the weather, and I'm not feeling especially energized either. Still gonna try to go to the gym later, but we'll see how that pans out. We'll take some questions. If we have some time, maybe we'll revisit one of our old presentations. Eve? COVID is going around. Be safe. Yeah. At this point, it's just like, what can you do? If I get it, I get it. It's in the wastewater in a big way right now. So I need to stop drinking wastewater. Damn. Really looking forward to that. Chat, how are you feeling today? Not this one. This one. Can't even click the right button. I feel right here. I'm right in the middle of the wheel today. I am every feeling at once. I have ascended. Satisfied. Nice. I am feeling peaceful. That's what I will say. I am feeling peaceful today. I don't want to study war no more. Alright, I got one question in waiting. So if you have a question and you want to drop it into the box, we'll get to it right away. I'm just enjoying this tea and waking up a little bit first. It's core day at the gym. I'm not looking forward to it. not lame saying satisfied too. There's no shame in being lame. I'm not saying you're lame, I just said that because it rhymes. It's one of my neurodivergent traits. I just can't help but rhyme sometimes. That and echolalia. When I hear an interesting word, I have to say it myself. I'm like, oh, that sounds fun to say. Catharsis. Quixotic. Ostentatious. Surreptitious. Colloquialism. Only positive vibe. Thank you for the 6 months. Let's fucking go. You're subscribed for 6 months at tier 1? Oh, you're... Cheers. Cheers. For the 6 months of sub. Like a hot cuppa. Yeah. I got a tea kettle so that British people would stop making fun of me for microwaving my tea water, even though there really isn't much difference. Girl going wild 24/7 with the 4 months of Prime sub. Thank you. And now we're hype training, and I'm not awake enough for this hype train. Maybe this hype train will help wake me up. Raven OG, hey, how's it going? I love this place. Thank you. I worked hard on it. And it would be nothing without all of you. If you all weren't here, it would just be me sitting here by myself. Like some sort of weirdo. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You know what? I want to talk about that for a minute. I want to talk about that for a minute because that has been on my mind. That has been on my mind lately. Why is it that Republicans can't stand to be called weird? Only positive vibe. Thank you for gifting that sub. Let's go. Isn't it really funny that of all the things you could call Republicans, weird was the one that really got to them? Like, Donald Trump is a racist. He's a pedophile. He's a rapist. He's a felon. He's a fraudster. He's a narcissist. They just shrug all that off. They're like, whatever. Oh, and he's weird. Now hold on. You're taking things too far. What happened to decorum in politics? It's like, huh? That's the one that got you? It's just such a surprise. Substitute Scholar, thank you for the 15 months. Yeah, you gotta... Oh, it was to get the hype train. Am I reading this correctly? Did you resubscribe for 15 months? Is my brain broken today? How many months have we subscribed for? How many months can you subscribe for at a time? It's the resub message. So it was 1 month? Why is my brain reading it as 15 months? I can't do brain today. Because here's the thing. Weird people make the world go round. Weird people make things interesting. Weird people are who we rely on for entertainment, innovation, scientific achievement, breakthroughs. We rely on weird people for those things. So weirdness is something that should be celebrated. But I feel like there are some people who are just so cripplingly insecure that they need to be perceived as normal by other people. And so to call them weird is just such an offense to them because they work so hard to be perceived as normal when there is no such thing as normal. What is normal? Only positive vibe with the 5 gifted subs. Let's fucking go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the stuff. Being weird is fine. What you don't want to be is creepy. Being creepy is the bad kind of weird, exactly. It's like 15 said. Being weird is okay if you're weird in the right way. You know, if you're quirky, if you are interesting, if you are creative, those are all good things. Well, you don't want to be as weird in a weird way. You don't want to be creepy. You don't want to be weird and like, hey, I was just thinking about you, so I just, you know, I was worried about, you know, you because you hadn't been answering my phone calls, and so I came in to sneak through your bushes and take a look through your window at 3 in the morning. It's like, hey, you didn't text me back, so I followed you to work just to see if you were okay. They want to fit it in to conform, right? It's like they value conformity, but they also can't stand socialism. It doesn't make any sense to me. They're like, communism is evil, but also we all have to be the same, and also we all have to conform, and we all have to believe in the same God, and we all have to do the same things. It's like, But no, I love being weird because to me the alternative to being weird is to be boring. Like, weird things are attention grabbing. They're eye catching. You're walking down the trail and you see something and you're like, oh, that's weird. Did you hear that Fox News anchor say that he said that if you are a man and you vote for Kamala Harris, that you are transitioning into a woman? That's kind of weird. Kind of a weird thing to say. But I guess that means I'll be transitioning, according to his definition. couldn't tell if he was joking about that. No. No, I don't think he was. What's this guy's fucking name? Hold on, let me find this guy's name. This fucking guy. Jesse Waters. This guy looks like a demon. Like, if a demon were to come to Earth and inhabit a human form, he would kind of look like this guy, I think. There's just something very unsettling. Just something very unsettling. Maybe it's those cold, lifeless eyes. This guy just doesn't feel like a like, whenever I look at this guy, like, my brain doesn't register, like, this is a real human being that was birthed. This guy was made in an underground laboratory. They were trying to create the most vile, conservative talking head they could, and this is what they came up with. This guy feels synthetic. Waters flattened a coworker's tire so he could offer her a ride home from work. That's Ted Bundy behavior. That's Ted Bundy behavior. That's straight out of the Bundy playbook. YouTube short is the demon. Oh yeah, Kenneth Copeland. Oh yeah, this guy, they're in the same category of person. Kenneth Copeland is in the same category.
I paid. The airplane that we have that I bought from Tyler Perry, and I didn't pay anywhere. Tyler's one of the greatest guys. He made that airplane so cheap for me, I couldn't help but buy it. I love your eyes.
Again, getting back to the comment, you said
Weird. Weird. I wish that the Democrats were the socialist extremists that Fox News talking heads always try to claim that they are. I wish that they were. Like, they're gonna create socialism. They're gonna turn everybody socialist. I'm like, please. Please do. I wish. Oh my god, I wish. Why do men do that eyebrow thing? Yeah, Rupert Murdoch was from Australia. He owned Fox News. I don't know if he still does. Oh my god. Weird. It's just so funny to me that they're just so offended by being called weird. Like, if somebody called me weird, I would take it as a compliment. Thank you. Thank you. There is no mutually agreed upon condition of what normal is. It's all subjective to the community and to the culture to which you belong. Is anybody in here weird? Any weirdos in the chat? Oh. See you later, Beaver. Hi, weird. I'm Dad. See, I was hoping somebody would just say I'm weird so that I could say that, but you all had different and unique ways of answering my question. I was trying to set myself up for a dad joke. Oh, Beaver only got up because he heard the keys jingling and he thought he was going to get to chase the laser pointer. That's why he got up. Silly cat. He's a weirdo, too. How would you recommend getting others to stop gossiping? They keep gossiping about me, and one enters the movie Final Destination. They keep gossiping about you. Alright, here's the thing. We can't really control other people, right? We can't really control other people. And if we were to try to confront people and say, hey, stop gossiping. Hey, stop talking about me behind my back. You know what they're going to do? They're just going to do it more. They're going to be like, oh my God, can you believe what they said? Oh my God, they just don't know how to take a joke. Oh my God, they're so sensitive. We can't control other people. And so what I would recommend doing is, instead of focusing on their behavior, focus on yourself instead. We want to try to reframe. Just think about it this way. Of all the things in the universe that these people could be talking about, of all the things that they could spend their time on, they're spending it talking about you. And so that's the way that I view it. And the reason why I've adopted this mindset is because when you're on the internet, you will have people who watch you and talk about you. And sometimes you'll have people who watch you just because they don't like you. And you gotta deal with that. You gotta live with that. And you can't spend all of your time trying to like chase these people down and be like, hey, quit talking shit. Because it's just, you're gonna run yourself ragged. And so what I try to do is say, you know what? It makes me feel kind of good that of all the things that they could be doing with their time, the limited amount of time that they have on this planet, they're choosing to spend that time to talk about me. And they can't get that back. There's a saying, having haters means you've made it. So if that's how they want to spend their time, let them spend their time that way. Just let it roll off your back. I mean, the other alternative would be trying to ask them nicely, but I don't know if that would work. It may or may not work. Because you can't control other people. And I would say that, like, doing something beyond that, like escalating things, like coming at them heated, that would just give them more to gossip about. And so if you want to try asking them nicely, that's all you really can do. Just say, hey, I just really don't appreciate you talking about me behind my back. And either they will listen and respect your wishes, or they won't. But if they don't, it says more about them than it is about you. I guess me personally, I'd let them keep doing it. I'm flattered by it. Yeah, keep talking about me. It fuels my ego. Are obsessive thoughts the same as rumination, and how can one stop that without medication? Let's go. It's time to cook. It's time to cook. All right. Obsessive thoughts are obsessive thoughts. Rumination is a form of obsessive thinking. And so, yes, obsessive thoughts are a form of... Ruminating is a form of obsessive thinking. Now, when we think of obsessive thinking, I want you to think in different directions. You have to look at the direction that your thoughts are oriented. When we think about rumination, this is more so referring to like things that have happened in the past. I find myself constantly revisiting or finding myself getting stuck in thinking about things that have happened in the past. So rumination is something that happens in the past. Stuff that we can't change, stuff that's what rumination means. You're just... Now, obsessive thoughts can also be projected into the future. We can look into the future and say, okay, well, what if this happens? And what if if I don't do this, then this is going to happen. But if I don't do this, then this is going to happen. And if I don't do this, then this is going to happen, and then... It's exhausting. Because there is no limit to the number of answers to the question, what could go wrong? You can just keep adding to it. And so that's why obsessive thoughts become so exhausting. Because, well, okay, if I go outside, well, what happens if what happens if when I go outside and I'm locking my door, somebody comes up behind me in a van and is trying to kidnap me? So before I lock my door, I have to look over my shoulder 3 times. This is how OCD develops. So, how can one stop their obsessive thinking without medication? I'll give you a hint. Replace one letter from the word medication, and you will have your answer. You just have to switch out one letter from the word medication, and that is the answer to your question. What are you doing over here straddling things? I was trying to get back onto my desk. There you go. Beavis, no! Oh, no. My rising standing desk wasn't locked, and he hopped over onto my desk, and he started pressing the up button, and my desk started going up. Okay, he wants to lay back down. Alright, here, I'll make you some room. I'll make you some room. There you go. Go ahead. The answer is meditation. The best way to change your relationship with your thinking is to sit down and think. Just watch your thoughts. Just sit down and watch your thoughts as they flow. If you find yourself looping, just picture that loop. Picture yourself stepping back from the loop. You really just want to lean into the part of your consciousness that is simply aware of everything that is going on, everything that is happening to you. This might seem unusual, this might blow your mind a little bit, but your brain isn't one cohesive thing. Your brain is actually several parts that are all working in unison, and they all communicate with one another so fast that it gives the illusion of oneness. How's that different from telling someone to just pray about it? Well, if you're just praying about it, then you're just putting it into God's hands, but if you meditate on it, then you're actually putting it into your own hands. I think that some people accidentally meditate during prayer. Oh my god, pork tree. You got it. You got it. We accidentally meditate all the time. Anyway, what I was saying was, there is a part of your consciousness that is aware of everything else that is happening to you. And it is a separate and distinct part of you from the part of you that thinks. So the part of you that thinks is a separate and distinct part from the part of you that is aware that you are thinking. And so what meditation does is it trains you to lean into that aware part of yourself. So that instead of being your thoughts, because you aren't your thoughts, you are simply experiencing your thoughts. And so what meditation teaches you to do is to pull yourself out of those thought loops and to just observe them. And so instead of being stuck in the whirlpool, you pull yourself out and you can see the whirlpool. And so what I would recommend is just practice taking some time every day. 10 minutes. 20 minutes if you're feeling like you really want to, go for it. 30 minutes if you feel like you want extra credit. Just make some time to do absolutely nothing. Just sit or lie down, put on some meditation tones, put on a guided meditation, and just exist for a few moments. You've got 10 minutes. You've got maybe even 20 minutes. Take it out of your rumination time. Take it out of your doom scrolling time. It's scientifically backed. It's secular. It's, it doesn't require, hours a day. It doesn't require, years of practice. This is something that you can actually see a benefit and you can see a change in the structure of your neural pathways in as little as 2 weeks of meditation. What is doom scrolling? That's when you pull out your phone and you dissociate and you scroll on TikTok for 3 hours or on Twitter for 3 hours or Reddit or whatever it might be. Or maybe you jump between all of them. And you just try to forget that the world exists. Sounds horrible. People do that. Look around you, Baklava. It's an epidemic. I just call it zoning out. That's all it is. That's basically all it is. Is just slipping into that part of you that is simply aware of everything that is happening around you and within you. Doing this literally changes the structure of your neural pathways, and it can help you to break free of those obsessive thoughts, whether they be oriented in the past or fixated on the future. Two weeks of trying to meditate. Oh yeah, trying to meditate is the same thing as meditating. There is no right or wrong way to meditate. What matters is the intention, is that you are approaching your mind in a different way, from a place of curiosity, rather than a place of judgment. If that makes sense. We want to try to view ourselves from a detached place. As simply another being. So that's what I would recommend. I would recommend giving that a try. Here, let me pull up YouTube real quick. Let's check this out. Guided meditation. For obsessive thoughts. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Even as little as 8 minutes. I would say if you're new to meditating, give one of these a try. And I know what you're thinking. I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna start this. I'm gonna say this is silly, this is stupid, this isn't gonna work. And that's exactly the part of you that you are working on changing. You are working on the part of you that believes that you can't get better, and that this won't help you, and that you are stuck the way you are. And so, good. Bring that part of you to the surface so that you can start challenging that part of you. Just start asking that part of you, why? Why don't I think, like, why do I believe that? Like, why do I feel like this won't help me? We have the capability to change our brain. It's just that sometimes our brain doesn't want to change. Even if it's good change. Brain's like, ah, but that's work. That takes time and energy, and I'm not about that. Just give it a try. You'll like it. I have trouble feeling no arousal. Ever since my youth, I have felt energy radiating from others. During high school, there was a student who hated me secretly, but we remained social. He would give me creepy feelings in my rear to the point I would pass gas. Then we went on a trip to Europe, and I farted around 50 times on the airplane while sitting next to him. Passing gas happens a lot at behavioral health centers as well. I asked my roommate at the center if he had an overactive arousal because I was passing gas so much, and he admitted he did. The girl bouncing on the couch I sat in her seat, I got an overwhelming female arousal. I am convinced others radiate arousal and some of us can feel the energy. I try to limit my public appearances because of the feeling they might give. Is this a delusion? I don't know. I feel like people are definitely able to pick up other people's vibes, other people's energy. You know, when the vibes are off, you can pick it up on it. I feel like, you know, there are ways that we can read a situation outside of the senses that we are closely familiar with. I would say that limiting your public appearances isn't going to do anything to help to train you to become less sensitive. I would say that exposure is actually the best way to learn how to handle those feelings. Isolation just isn't ever really the answer. How do I kindly suggest to my friend that she might have an alcohol problem? Alright. Let's talk about it. I want to preface this. by saying that even if you do this perfectly, even if you do everything right, your tone, your choice of words, the time, the place, everything, you could do it all perfectly, and your friend might still not take it well. That is a possibility. Because this is one of the things that we often see when a person is struggling with an addiction is they don't like to feel confronted about it. What I found to be helpful is to ask them questions about their use. And so you're not exactly just coming forward to them and saying, hey, I'm worried about you. I think you might have a drinking problem. It would be more like, hey, how many drinks have you had this week? You want to ask them questions about their habit, about their addiction, so that they can start to develop a better understanding of it. Because from their perspective, they might not be thinking about the number of drinks that they had this week. Because when a person has an addiction, they don't really focus on the number of things that they did. They mostly just focus on, when can I get the next one? The consensus of the office is that doom scrolling must be a young people thing. Everyone my age and older had no idea this was occurring. Oh no, it's an old people thing too. I've known plenty of old people who do it on Facebook. Or, you know, you could even say that an old person who just sits and they're just locked in their recliner all day watching Fox News, that is the equivalent of doom scrolling for them within their social context. All right. Getting back to this question, this is a tough position to be in, and I just want to say that it is really supportive and brave of you to want to help your friend with their alcohol problem. Because a lot of people will just try to ignore it, or they will justify it, or they will rationalize it, or they'll say it's none of my business. They're an adult, they can make their own choices. They'll find a way to not have to be the one who helps them. And so I would just, if this is something that you do want to sit down and talk to them about, I would just try to approach it from a position of empathy and understanding. I would be non-judgmental. I wouldn't say things like, you drank the last 7 days in a row. What are you doing? I would... You don't want to come across as critical or judgmental. You want to come across as supportive. You want to come across as concerned. But like I said, even if you do everything right, there is still the chance that they won't take it well. Because a lot of people, when they are confronted about their addictions, they might not take it well. And that's part of the reason why it's so hard for people to actually confront them. So what I would do, because you know your friend better than I do, and so you probably have a better idea of what would work and what wouldn't work. And so what I would do is I would try to rehearse ahead of time what it is I want to say, where I want to have this conversation. You want to try to catch them at the right time and the right place. And so I would just try to plan it out ahead of time and just try to say like, okay, well, if I said this, how might they respond? How do I want to approach this? You want to stay calm. You don't want to turn... If they get heated and they start yelling, don't match their energy. You got to stay calm. You got to approach it from the perspective of, I am trying to help you. Sometimes all you can do is just bring it up and mention it, and then give them some time and some space to process it. You never tell addicts they are addicted, I think. Yeah, there's no point in telling an addict that they're addicted because they already know that they're addicted. They just don't like that other people have now noticed that they are addicted. So I guess if I had to do this with a friend, what I would try to do is I would sit down with them and I would say, hey, I noticed that you have been drinking more recently, and I just want to make sure that everything's okay. Is there anything I can do for you? Is there anything I can do to support you? The self-medicating problem? Oh yeah, absolutely. Addictions are almost always a self-medicating problem. Because here's the thing. Let me show you something real quick. When it comes to treating an addiction, there are stages. Let me find a good graph. All of these infographics suck. Actually, this one's pretty good. So, there are stages in addiction recovery. Most people start off in the pre-contemplation stage, meaning that they haven't even thought about changing their behaviors. After they're through the pre-contemplation stage and they actually start to think about changing their behaviors, it's when they're in stage 3 that they're actually starting to make preparations to change their behaviors. They're like, all right, I need to go through and figure out what exactly it is I need to do. Do I need to delete people's numbers out of my phone? Do I have to distance myself from my old drinking buddies or my old using friends? I got to figure out, is there something about the route that I take home from work. Like if my habit is after work every day, I stop at the same liquor store because it's on that route. Maybe I need to start taking a different way home. You know, that's the preparation stage, is you're really going through it and figuring out everything that I need to do to start changing so that I can actually have success. And then it's not until stage 4 that you actually start doing things about it. And so when it comes to treating an addiction, a lot of what goes into it is pre-planning, thinking about it, recognizing your behaviors, and then coming up with a plan before you even start doing anything. A lot of times people just try to skip into that action stage. They're like, all right, I need to stop drinking, so I'm just going to do it. And then they end up failing, and then they find themselves frustrated. But when you're working with an addiction, there's a lot that is tied into it. I used to be an addiction counselor, so I used this a lot. Can I be an addict if I only get totally obliterated on the weekends? That wouldn't be classified as like regular alcoholism, but it might be considered a binge drinking disorder. Like if you're doing it as like a binge. And so if you're trying to help a friend who is addicted to something, you have to remember that they are very likely in this early stage. They're most likely in this pre-contemplation stage. They haven't even started to think about making changes. They might not even be aware of how their behaviors are harming them. And so they might not take it well when you break it to them. And so all you can do is try your best, and just try your best to be empathetic and kind and understanding. You know, there doesn't need to be a fight or an argument. You don't raise your voice, don't yell. They might try to raise their voice, they might try to yell, but you can't. You gotta be cool. And you want to come at it from a place of asking them questions about their behaviors so that the gears can start to turn. Saying things like, hey, I've noticed that you've been drinking a lot more lately. Is everything going on okay? Is everything all right? Just think about even how you want to phrase it and how you want to word it. Like, you may not even want to say, like, hey, you've been drinking a lot. You may want to say things like, I've noticed that you've been drinking more. Or I've noticed you've been drinking more regularly. This is why I would recommend rehearsing it ahead of time, so that you can really just figure out exactly what you want to say in the way that's going to be perceived the best possible outcome. Going back to what Baklava said, there is a difference between a habit and an addiction. If you drink every weekend and you get drunk every weekend, that is a drinking habit. If you need to drink every day because if you don't, you get the shakes, or you start to feel withdrawals, that is alcoholism. No, you're a good friend for wanting to help your friend, because I've known many people who have been unable to do that. Most of the time, it's friends that enable that behavior. Yeah, baklava. I don't think I wouldn't say that you're an addict if you're just doing it on the weekends. That's why God invented the weekends. But I would say that, like, if there is a weekend and you're not able to just, like, enjoy your time sober, then that might be a little bit of, like, we'll call that like a something to be mindful of. You know what I mean? When drinking and smoking starts to become problematic is when you feel like you can't have a good time without it. It should be there to enhance an already good time. It should not be something that you rely on in order to have a good time. Tea was pretty good. I'm kind of feeling like I want another one. This is where I get into tricky territory with the smoking because I'm a medical patient. Then for you, it's medicine, and I'd say that that is a different. That is something different altogether. The issue is when people self-medicate. And this is why a lot of people become addicted to things in the first place, is because they use them to self-medicate. Because going to a doctor is expensive, going to a therapist is expensive, and booze is easily accessible, and it's fairly cheap. Whenever I did addiction counseling, it wasn't just for um, regular addicts. I worked specifically with dual diagnosis patients. So these were people who had an underlying mental illness in addition to an addiction. It was fun work. It was challenging for sure, because having an addiction on top of a mental illness just complicates both of the issues. But yeah, the irony of that job was that I would go home and smoke weed in order to cope with the stress of the work that I had to do. Funny how that works. Booze is better. As far as drugs go, alcohol is actually pretty shitty. Even like from an objective standpoint, like the amount of the drug that you have to consume in order to obtain the desired effect is way higher than other drugs. And so with alcohol, you have to consume a large amount of your drug of choice in order to receive the desired effect. As far as drugs go, it is one of the weakest that there is. Also, all those empty calories. I'm not anti-drinking entirely. I don't drink that often, but I'm not anti-drinking. Because I feel like alcohol has had its place in human culture for thousands of years. We like to think that we invented social anxiety, but social anxiety has existed for as long as socialization has existed, which is why alcohol was one of the first things we invented. I thought we invented water because most alcohol, or because we invented alcohol because most water was contaminated. That is actually true. But the thing is that we didn't know what germs were until, or that germs caused disease until the 1800s. All that we knew was that if I drink the beer, I don't get sick, but if I drink the water, I do get sick. We didn't know why. I just always assumed that alcohol was discovered accidentally. It was, I believe. The first alcohol that is invented historically was rum. Rum pa pum pum. I once forgot about an apple in my backpack. Found it in 2 weeks. That shit was alcohol. Does beer predate rum? So the thing about distilled alcohol like rum is that it actually involves a little bit more of a process in creating it, and so the first alcohols that were created weren't that strong. And so the first alcohols that were created were probably more comparable to like sangria. There's a reason why sangria is a booze that you can make in a toilet in prison. It's because we've been making that shit for thousands of years. Like, hey, just put some fruit out. Let that shit ferment. Yeah, but they've found evidence that dates back to like 10,000 BC, or like even further back, like the Neolithic period. Stone Age booze. You read that animals get drunk sometimes accidentally as well? Or you have animals like the koala. Or you have animals like the koala who will only eat eucalyptus leaves, which are poisonous to them. And so they get drunk off of the only food that they eat. Also, koalas are so stupid that if you give it eucalyptus leaves, it won't know how to eat them. It will only know how to eat them if they are still on the branch. One of the reasons why we are so intelligent is because our brain is wrinkled. When you have a wrinkled brain, it gives more surface area. A koala, however, has a smooth brain. If you pick a bunch of eucalyptus leaves and put them in front of a koala won't know what to do with it. They don't recognize that it is the only thing that they eat because it isn't on the branch. Also, a large number of koalas have chlamydia. If koalas were your favorite animal, I'm sorry to just come out of nowhere and start shit-talking them. Elephants raid beer storage facilities. Dogs lick toads. They are intelligent and know that this alters consciousness. If I had unlimited money and I could just conduct whatever type of mad scientist experiment I could with this unlimited amount of money, I would take orangutans and I would make them eat magic mushrooms, and then I would try to teach them how to communicate. I would try to teach them how to talk. What would you do if you had unlimited money and you could conduct whatever type of mad scientist experiment that you wanted? I would basically try to recreate the stoned ape theory and see if you can use psychedelics to promote the formulation of language. Because this is a theory as to how humans were able to start communicating with language, is through exposure to psychedelic mushrooms that triggered a cognitive expansion that allowed them to start associating meaning to sound. And I just want to see if you could do it with a monkey. And I know that they're apes, but monkey is more fun to say. Are you having a brat summer? And if so, what has been a brat highlight? Oh yeah, it's a brat summer for sure. My brat highlight was we got a new TV and a PlayStation 5, and we've been able to play co-op gaming in the living room. We've been able to do couch co-op. That has been a brat highlight. Also, our kitchen's coming together. We got our new oven installed, and we've almost got the cabinets and the countertop put together, so we'll have a cooktop soon. Also, when I look in the mirror, I like what I see. Kind of want another cup of tea. I'm so Julia. Thank you. All right. If we went through a presentation today, which one would you like to do? I'm going to scroll through these slowly so you can take a look. Love languages, that's a good one. Reframing, that might be useful. Some of these I want to redo. Some of these I need to rewrite. Some of these I want to expand. DMT. I can't believe I did a whole presentation on dimethyltryptamine. I can't decide. I know they're all good. Addiction? I did one on addiction. Is this one still good? It's wordy. happiness. That's a good one. In your love language PowerPoint, did you explore that they were created by a total whack job? Would you believe that most psychological theories were created by total whack jobs? Just goes with the nature of the job. This field is full of whack jobs. You kind of have to be a little bit of a whack job to think about the human mind in the way that some psychologists do. He's a Christian fundamentalist. Well, he didn't mention God anywhere in the love languages, so it doesn't really translate through in that way. Prayer wasn't included. The thing about the love languages is that they are interesting to talk about. Just recognizing and learning the way that you communicate love, the way that you give and receive love. And people have different ways of giving and receiving love. So recognizing and understanding, becoming more fluent in the love languages, it opens you up to more love in your life. Is the grooming one the good one, or like combing your hair, or the bad one? It's the bad one. It's the bad one. I put that presentation together around the time that like allegations were coming out about some like Minecraft YouTuber or some shit. It's always the fucking Minecraft YouTubers, isn't it? That's your biggest takeaway from this stream? Yeah, I really cooked on that one, didn't I? I really cooked on that one because I took it a step beyond what the love languages is actually trying to teach you. The love languages teaches you what they are so that you can become more familiar with what yours are, but it doesn't really emphasize the importance of how you can learn how to recognize love in different ways and become more open to different types of love. Like, you might have a dad who has a hard time giving you a hug or telling you that he loves you, but when your sink is clogged or something is not working and you call him and he comes over and he fixes it for you, that is his way of communicating love. And it makes you able to show love in a specific way to specific people. Precisely. Because if you know what the other person's love language is and you know what yours are, and you can modify your approach and you can communicate to them in their language so that they can better receive the love that you are trying to send them and it doesn't get lost in translation. This literally just happened to me today. My master sink is leaking and my dad is here fixing it. Give him a big hug afterwards. Tell him you love him. Dads love that shit. Dads love it when they feel useful and they're able to like save the day. So just like honestly, ham it up a little bit. Ham it up a little bit. Just be like, "Oh my god, Dad, you saved the day. My hero." It's a dad's two favorite things to hear. You saved the day. My hero. If I were a couples therapist or a family therapist, I would definitely use the love language tool to strengthen relationships. I absolutely. I feel like, if you're working with a family or with a couple, it really makes sense to familiarize yourself with how the other person receives love, how they communicate love, and how you communicate love so that you can become more fluent with one another. Have I watched Couples Therapy on Paramount Plus? I watched a little bit of like one episode and I wanted to rip my eyeballs out. Our other option is to go onto Reddit and go to Am I the Asshole? Let's weigh in. Let's look at the top of the week. Am I the asshole for laughing in my cousin's face when she tried to stage an intervention for my quote-unquote drug use? Am I the asshole for not ordering any food so I wouldn't have to split the bill? It's like, you really had to come on Reddit and write about this? Oh, hello, doctor. Welcome in, doctor. Am I the asshole for telling my neighbor to grow up, get a life, and get the fuck over the fact that I painted my house a color he doesn't like? See, no, here's the thing. There, you're not an asshole for painting your house whatever color you want. But if you have a neighbor who's an asshole and you respond to them by being an asshole, congratulations, you are both assholes. Gen X Cat Lady, thank you for the 14 months. Half of the posts I see on this subreddit are people who are like, am I justified in blowing up at this person for the thing that they did to upset me? And then everyone's like, yes, you were valid. I'm trying to find one that's juicy. Am I the asshole for ignoring my friend's phone calls after she invited herself, her spouse, her children, and her friends to my home for an impromptu barbecue without my permission? Who does that? Am I the asshole for telling my sister-in-law to go F herself at her baby's sip and see? What the fuck is a sip and see? Alright, hold on. This one sounds kind of juicy. Let's get into this one. Anytime it involves a baby shower or a baby event, it's like, oh yeah, let's get into it. This is gonna be messy. My wife's sister Jen and her husband Matt welcomed their first child about 4 months ago. Jen didn't want a baby shower, but decided to do a sip and see for close relatives to meet the baby. This happened last Saturday. My wife has met the baby before this, but it was my first time seeing them since the birth. The fuck is a sip and see? You can't just say that. Like, what the fuck? Sip and see. The alternative to a traditional baby shower means everyone gets to meet the new baby in person. This is a terrible idea. After a new baby is born, you should give those parents like 2 months to just have to interact with no one. Their sleep schedule is going to be all fucked up. They're getting used to taking care of a newborn. You're going to fuck up the baby's sleep schedule. Leave that baby alone. Let it finish cooking a little bit. How old is this? This came out in 2024. This came out this year. This is exactly what I was taught to not do. Because when you are taking care of a baby, it's a major adjustment. Also, you know, your schedule's all fucked up. You even woke up in the middle of the night. The last thing you need is a bunch of people coming to your house to hang out. and look at the baby. Like, oh my god, look at it, it's so tiny. Yep, it's a baby, all right. Anyway, I hate it. It's a bad idea. It's a bad idea. When you pull a bun out of the oven, you have to give it proper time to cool off. Exactly. Wait until that kid's a couple months old and then go see it. So anyway, they went to go do a sip and see. God, I just don't even like the name. About 2 months ago, my dad passed away unexpectedly in his sleep. It's been a really difficult time for me, but I'm in therapy and on antidepressants, both of which are helping. I wasn't really looking forward to attending the sip and see, but it meant a lot to my wife that I come with her, and she kind of pressured me to come since I hadn't seen the baby yet. If somebody tells you, I don't want to go see the baby, don't force them to go see the baby. Like, you don't need to bring your negative attitude into their home to go be around this baby. If you're not interested in going to see the baby genuinely, don't do it. And don't force other people to do it. The event was just close family, about 15 of us total, and very informal. About an hour into the event, Jen asked me if I wanted to hold the baby. I told her I didn't really want to, but she pretty much shoved the baby into my arms. That's because when somebody asks you if you want to hold the baby, that is their way of saying, hey, my arms are tired, would you hold the baby for a minute? Just hold the fucking baby, dude. Just... She pretty much shoved the baby into my arms. Oh my god. God. You're not the only... There's not just one baby at this party, I fear. On the way down now, we'll meet you at back gate with pin pad in 2 minutes. Oh, your DoorDash. Oh, it's your DoorDash. Okay, okay. Well, it's scary if you're not used to holding babies. Did you know that humans have an inbuilt reflex that makes you more gentle whenever you are interacting with a baby? Your muscles actually will like relax and not operate as intensely. It's like hardwired in to be gentle with the baby. Isn't that kind of cool? She then sat next to me and told me that she was sorry about my dad and that they regretted not being able to attend the funeral because of the baby. I thanked her and told her not to worry about the funeral. I understand. She then went on this weird tangent about a new life springing from death and renewal of energy. I had no idea what she was talking about and just kind of nodded along. This guy's okay, I'm sorry your dad died, but this guy kind of sounds like he sucks. Like, I'm sorry, but this guy just sounds like he's... this guy just kind of sounds like a party pooper. Like, maybe you should have stayed home. I hate Reddit. Yeah. Isn't it the worst? Then she said that she hopes seeing her and holding a beautiful baby will help me get over my loss. It was a weird comment, and I looked at her and told her, no, this is not helping me get over the death of my dad. Oh my god. And they said this guy wasn't the asshole? This person was trying to be nice and supportive and to, like, show you good energy after the loss of a loved one, and you're just like... He's just looking for a reason to lash out. Exactly. And he lashed out at a new mother. It's like, where is the empathy for the person who is having to adjust to take care of a baby? This baby is only 4 months old. This woman has had to carry this child around for 9 months. She's had to change her entire life schedule. Her sleep schedule is fucked. And she tried to say something nice to you about your dad dying. And then you had to say, oh, why are you so weird? This isn't helping me. Oh my god. She got defensive and told me that it was supposed to be a joyous day to celebrate a new life and that I should be happy and not dwell on my dad's death. I didn't want to cause a scene in front of everyone, but I was pissed. I handed Jen her baby back and leaned in close to her ear and whispered, "Go fuck yourself, Jen." How did this guy get voted not the asshole? How did this guy get voted not the asshole? They said that they determined he was not the asshole. This just really, like, one of the things that you will see commonly on the Am I the Asshole subreddit is people have no understanding of, like, a woman's mind or the complexities of having a new child, or this is why I always like reading the baby shower or like those types of Am I the Asshole posts, because they're always the messiest. Because it's a bunch of like Redditors trying to understand and talk about their interaction with like women and just blaming them for their own problems. I then got up and walked over to my wife and told her that I needed to leave. I told her she can stay if she wants, but I need to get out of there ASAP. She asked me why. I told her I would talk about it on the drive home or later if she wants to stick around. I thought the therapy and antidepressants were helping, but this guy basically just threw a temper tantrum. Is like, I need to leave. I gotta go. By that time, Jen had gotten up and was on a warpath. She came up to me, still holding the baby, and poked her finger at me, telling me I have no right to talk to her like that. Yeah, she invited her to your house and was trying to make you feel better and was trying to, like, introduce some positive energy into your bleak life, and you told her to go fuck herself. That got everyone's attention, and now everyone was looking at us. Matt came over to ask what was going on. My wife was confused. Jen was basically yelling. The baby was starting to cry. It was a mess. I told my wife I need to leave and she needs to make a decision right then. She ended up coming home with me. I explained what happened on the drive home, and she said she understood why I was upset by Jen's comments and agreed she was out of line, but I shouldn't have said that to her. My wife has been getting a lot of grief from Jen and her parents, basically calling me the biggest asshole they've ever met. I don't even know if an apology will help. Like, I understand that you're grieving, and I understand that sometimes when we grieve, we lash out, but, like, hold it together, man. Like, hold it together. At least someone finally admitting that this guy overreacted. I don't think you should apologize. These comments are shit. My god, these fucking Reddit comments make me want to fucking self-destruct. Am I a therapist? Yeah, I'm right now I'm taking a look at the Am I the Asshole subreddit and trying not to rip my hair out because everyone who posts on the Am I the Asshole subreddit is an asshole. This is a place where assholes go to go tell their one-sided story so that they can get validation from anonymous strangers on the internet saying that they were justified in how they overreacted. I'm probably telling you something that you already know, but there are definitely women who think, because they've been told, that giving birth is a miracle. You try pushing a human being out of your body, motherfucker, and let's see what you think. Jesus fucking Christ. How long have I been a therapist for? I got my degree back in, when was it? Like 2017? Everyone sucks here. I've lost a parent and nobody says the right thing. This is true. When you are grieving, people will try to help you and they will try to console you and try to say nice things to you, but it is very rarely the absolute right thing that you need to hear. And it's normal to feel annoyed and unheard and feel like people don't understand your pain because it must be unique to you, but she was just trying to be nice. And you chose to be mean. Simple as that. It's my dream to join the military one day. Hopefully you get a job that's not, you know, in the front line. Try to get a cozy desk job. That would be my recommendation. Not the asshole. You had a lot of restraint whispering it, TBH. Good job on that. Frankly, some new moms think the world revolves around them and their newborn. Shouldn't it? Shouldn't your world revolve around this human that you just brought into existence? Shouldn't that be your priority during that time? I love it when Redditors try to understand women. Is this all anti-natalist in the comments? This is all Redditors trying to explain the motivations of a woman, and what will normally happen when you are a Redditor is you will always assume the worst intention of a woman. It's what a lot of like lonely, isolated men do, is they assume the worst intentions from women. They only want to be with you because you got money. They only care if you're tall or if you have a full head of hair or if you have a good job. It's just, they find ways to vilify women. Am I the asshole for reminding my friend that just because she's poor doesn't mean I am? Yes. I don't even need to read that one. Am I the asshole for telling my parents they need to place their next kid for adoption? Am I the asshole for telling a parent that their kid is weird when she pushed as to why my kid didn't want to be your friend? Voted not the asshole? Disregarding people as incels isn't good either, though. Yeah, and that's why I don't like to label people as incels. But I will acknowledge the reality of the situation that there is a large population of people that they spend a lot of their time online, and they spend a lot of time in these little tight echo chambers, and they just become very isolated, very resentful, very hateful. And I want to try to help those people when I can, so I don't want to write anybody off. Am I the asshole for telling a parent that their kid is weird? Hold on, I gotta look into this. My family and I have moved states. It's been a hard move, especially for my oldest daughter. Caddy? She's in the 6th grade. The area school district has a Facebook account that parents are a part of. Oh, that sounds juicy. You want to see some real drama? It's gonna go on in the school district Facebook page. I introduced myself on there a while ago. We put Caddy on the cross-country team, and she has been making friends over the summer. I got a message from a parent last week asking to meet up and let the kids meet. You know, I saw this typo, I was like, okay, they did it once. And then they did it twice. They'd be in the same grade, and I thought it would be a good opportunity. We went yesterday to the local pool. I met Melanie, and she wouldn't make eye contact, was very soft-spoken, and overall didn't seem to be paying attention. The kids were playing while I talked to the mom. She's always been in the area and was excited that her kid was getting a friend. Caddy came up to me asking to leave since she wasn't feeling well. We left early, and in the car she admitted to just wanting to get away from Melanie. She said that Melanie freaked her out. She was very touchy, kept pushing her in the water, was whispering, saying things under her breath, would stare at people and make comments, comparing people to bugs. I'm still confused on what that means. Caddy told me she was uncomfortable and doesn't want to hang out with her again. The parents messaged me and asked when they could do it again. I told her the girls didn't mesh well and that we will have to decline. She then called me asking what I meant. I told her Caddy wasn't interested in hanging out since they don't mesh together. I was trying to be polite about it. This went on for a while, and she told me that the kids just needed to be around each other more. I told her no, I told her no to that. It went on for a while. She asked to talk to my husband, which is when I snapped. I told her no, and that I was trying to be polite, but your kid is weird. Melanie makes my kid uncomfortable, and I don't know what the hell is up with her, but we will not have another play date. She went on Facebook and was going around how the new family are jerks. It seems to not be going anywhere, but I'm wondering if I was a dick. This is why the block button exists. This was why the block button exists. Is this even real? I don't know. That's the thing about this subreddit. Is like I feel like some people just use this as a way of writing fan fiction. And then everyone clapped. Am I the asshole for not buying my wife a plane ticket so she is missing the family vacation? Am I the asshole for calling out the volunteer church organizer after her awful actions after she made my daughter-in-law cry? Am I the asshole for not caring that I was uninvited to my older brother's wedding? Am I the asshole for telling an adoptive parents that they make me, also an adoptive parent, uncomfortable and that I owe them nothing? Am I the asshole for cropping my sister-in-law out of my wedding photos after she said she looked fat? I don't want to live on this planet anymore. I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Yeah, I feel insecure. Alright, let's just remove you from the equation. Like, oh, I don't think I look good in that picture. Okay, I'll just cut you out of the picture then. Yeah, let's just really drive that insecurity home, shall we? Let's just really rub it in. Can I show you something? Dun 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 dun. Am I the asshole for not driving my neighbor to her hospital of choice, instead taking her to the one that was more convenient for me? Kind of. Kinda. Like, ooh, that's a 30-minute detour. It's like, there's a reason why this person would want to go to that hospital. It's because that might be where their doctors are. They might have their medical records. They might have been an established patient there. I know not everybody might not understand that, but one of my job duties whenever I was a case manager is I had to like attend a lot of medical appointments with people, and changing hospitals and changing doctors is a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. It's like starting the process all over again. Oh, hold on. I actually want to read through this. I live halfway between Hospital A and Hospital B. Hospital A is maybe 3 minutes less of a drive and is a large hospital, whereas Hospital B is smaller, however still good. My neighbor is pregnant. My neighbor is pregnant, and yesterday she knocked on my door saying she had complications and needed to go to the hospital but was unable to drive herself. I said, of course. I was almost ready to leave for work, and Hospital B is on the way. A 4-minute detour. She told me that she needed to go to Hospital A, and I said, sorry, but I'm already cutting it close to being late. You did this to avoid being late? You told a... TLDR, I didn't give my neighbor a ride in an emergency because she wouldn't compromise and consider my own needs for being at work on time. This person says that the reason why they couldn't be late is because they have clients and they're a support worker and they help people attend their own appointments. Then really, honestly, you should understand the importance of continuity of care. Especially if you are pregnant, it's really important to continue to see the same doctor. I should also add, it's not a matter of Hospital A being her primary care for her pregnancy. You should have mentioned that earlier. She wanted to go to Hospital B. She didn't want to go to Hospital B because it's smaller. Well, now I think everyone sucks. So why... Why didn't she want to go to her regular hospital? A tricky one with the updates. I mean, you would assume that if you were pregnant and having complications, you would want to go to your hospital. I think everything sucks. Everything is terrible. Alright, let's get back to the question box. If I have to expose myself to more Reddit, I fear it may not end well for me. Have you checked out Bloomburrow, the new Magic the Gathering set, and have any initial thoughts? I'm happy that there are more critter cards, you know, that you can play more like critter tribals. You can play more mice, you can play more squirrels. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, the Bloomburrow set is everything in it is animals. It takes place in a universe where humans don't exist. It's kind of like Redwall. So it's all animals. Kind of cool, huh? You can play as some evil, like, squirrel wizard. But yeah, it's the Redwall-ish Magic the Gathering set. We got a couple boosters. I wonder if we should get the commander sets. I don't know if I'll get the commander decks. Maybe. Perhaps. Just look at these. Just look at this little guy. Very excited for Frog Tribal. There is one of the pre-constructed commander decks is a squirrel deck. You got raccoons, you got birds, you got rabbits, all sorts of critters. Well, yeah, it seems fun. It seems cute. It's been a while since you read the Redwall series. I tried to read Redwall, but I think I was a little too young for it, and I think it was over my head at the age that I tried to read it. Did I play Yu-Gi-Oh? I watched Yu-Gi-Oh as a kid. How do I stop being a people pleaser? Oh, I've got a presentation for you. I know what presentation we're doing today. We're gonna do the, wait, where is it? Here, this one. We're gonna do stopping people pleasing. I have just the presentation for you. How do I stop being a people pleaser? I do like doing nice things to other people and helping out whenever I can. I've noticed that I tend to compromise my own wants and needs in order to put other people or even businesses, car dealership, long story, before myself. I guess it makes me feel needed and or validated somehow. Should we just go right into the presentation? Let's just go right into the presentation. People pleasing. It can be a difficult habit to break. And it's when we prioritize other people's needs and desires above our own, and this can end up with us feeling drained. We can feel resentful, and it can leave us feeling disconnected from ourselves. One of the things that I found helpful in avoiding people pleasing is to recognize that you can also please people by being genuine to yourself. People in your life who want to see you happy and enjoying life, they want to see you prioritize yourself sometimes. They want to see you do those things. And so sometimes you please other people by pleasing yourself. She looks grumpy. She looks so grumpy. Oh no! Poopy, are you mad at me? Do you want to sit on my desk? She likes to sit on my desk too. Oh, there she goes. She takes up half the space that Beaver does. Like, look. She takes up half the space he does. He's like from here to here. She's like, boop. My baby. Alright, let's look at some strategies for breaking the cycle of people pleasing and how we can cultivate healthier relationships with ourselves and with others. Poopy, what are you looking at? She's like staring up over. What? Oh, is it a ghost? Is it nothing? So what is people pleasing? Let's define it. People pleasing is the tendency to prioritize other people's needs and desires over our own, often at the expense of our own well-being. So the boss asks, "Hey, can you come in on Saturday?" And you're like, "Well, actually I can't come in on Saturday cuz my kid has a baseball game or something." And then the boss is like, "Well, can't someone else take him? I really need you to come in." And then you're like, "Okay, fine." So it's all about making sacrifices to please other people. Now, this isn't something that is inherently bad, because sometimes I would say that it's actually morally good. You know, there are times and places and people that it's like, yeah, you want to prioritize their needs. Especially like if you're a parent and you've got young kids, and it's like, yeah, sometimes you'll have to make sacrifices in order to attend to their needs. That's normal, and that's what you're supposed to do. People pleasing can manifest in a variety of ways. This could be saying yes to things that we don't want to do. This could be avoiding conflict or confrontation. So it doesn't have to just be saying yes. It could also be, you know, you're in a situation that makes you unhappy or you feel is unfair, and you avoid confronting the person about it because you don't want to upset them. So people pleasing isn't just about doing things to make other people happy, it's also avoiding doing things that you feel like might make them upset. Another example would be overextending ourselves to help others. Like, hey, I know you stayed late yesterday. Could you also stay late tonight? We were short-staffed. It's like, that sounds like a you problem, and you're making it a me problem. People pleasing is also when we ignore our own needs and desires. We put other people ahead of us, and we prioritize them. So that's people pleasing. Pretty easy to understand, right? Any questions? On to the next one. Why do we do it? A really important part of changing the behavior is understanding why we do it in the first place. If you can understand why you do a thing, it makes it easier and much more possible to change that behavior. So let's look. Why do we people please? People pleasing can be something that you learned. Perhaps you learned it from your parents or your caregivers. But it may stem from a variety of factors, including experiences from our childhood. If you grow up in an environment where other people's needs and desires were made to be the priority, and where your needs and desires were not prioritized, this can lead us to prioritize other people. So maybe when you were growing up, you were made to feel like your needs and your desires were not a priority. You could probably see a lot of this from people who grew up in the era where children were meant to be, you know, seen but not heard. Or neither seen nor heard. If you've been made to feel invalid, if you've been made to feel like, or if you went without. Like maybe you were outgrowing your clothes, but you didn't get new clothes something else came up and something else needed to be purchased instead, and so could this stem from conflict resolution learned from parent relationships? Yep. I think I cover that. I think I cover in more depth in one of these last ones. People pleasing could also be tied into your cultural expectations. Some cultures place a high value on deference of authority and respect for elders. Some people are brought up in cultures where you are taught that if someone older than you tells you that that's the way it is, you have to respect that. You cannot question it. And this can lead to people-pleasing behaviors. This can also result from low self-esteem. If you feel unworthy or unimportant, this can lead you to seek validation from others through people-pleasing behaviors. If other people feel good about me, then it helps me to feel good about me. If I can show people that I'm just so caring and understanding and giving, then I can feel better about myself. There is a current case in China where the courts ordered a woman to take care of her elderly parents even though they abandoned her in toddlerhood. Like, I'm sorry, but if you didn't take care of your kids, why should your kids have to take care of you? Doesn't make any sense. People-pleasing can also stem from a fear of rejection. We may worry that if we don't please others, that they will reject us or abandon us. So, these are some of the reasons why we might people-please. Another example of why we might people please is because maybe we had a volatile relationship with our parents or our caregivers or siblings or whoever it may have been. And we learned that we have to be complacent, we have to cater to their needs so that we can avoid an eruption. If you grew up feeling like you had to walk on eggshells to avoid setting your parent off, that could lead into people-pleasing behaviors. All right, let's get to it. Here are some tips for overcoming people-pleasing. It can be challenging to break that cycle, and the reason for that is because people-pleasing behaviors are often things that we learn very early in life. And sometimes when we learn things really early, it can make it a little bit more challenging to break that behavior, but it doesn't mean that it's impossible. And so if you apply some intentional effort, you can do it. So here are some strategies for overcoming these people-pleasing behaviors. First off, we need to identify your values. You need to clarify your own values and priorities so that you can make decisions that are aligned with your own needs and desires. You could do this by sitting down and thinking about it. You could do this by sitting down and writing them out. What are your values? What are your priorities? We need to reintroduce the idea to ourselves that we are also someone who is deserving of our own love and affection. You yourself, as much as anyone in the universe, is deserving of your love and affection. You are just as deserving as the people that you please. You should also be a person that you please. This is something that's also going to be really important, is we need to make sure that we're taking time to practice good self-care. Because when we practice good self-care, this is taking time to prioritize your own physical and emotional well-being. It can help you to feel more grounded and less dependent on external validation. So this is something that you could start practicing today. What is something that you can do today that is good self-care? This could be going on a walk, this could be going to the gym, this could be making yourself a healthy meal, this could be cleaning your room, this could be taking a shower, this could be brushing your teeth. What is something that you can do for you for no other reason than because it is something that is good for you? I'm taking a bath? Hell yeah. Taking a nice bath is like one of the most relaxing and enjoyable ways to practice good self-care. One of the things that you might notice when you start practicing self-care, if it's something that you're not used to doing, is that it feels selfish. And this is the exact idea, the exact belief that you are trying to work against. And so if you do start feeling that way, I want you to identify that this is the thought that you are working on changing. I am valid in taking time to care for myself. Taking good care of myself is not just good for me, it is essential for me. And so it might feel silly, it might feel awkward, it might feel selfish, but it's important. So remind yourself of that. You just need to push through that initial discomfort. I remember when I was really starting to practice more self-care in my life, like I was trying to do more meditation, I was, doing, I would put some like those fancy like bath salts in the tub, and I would take a nice bath. I would take some time to like do some exercise, and I felt silly. I felt like I was being selfish. I was like, isn't there something else I could be doing? Shouldn't I be doing this instead? And it's like, no. Whatever it is that I need to do, it is not so urgent that I have to do it right now. I can do it in 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. Like, it can wait. It's okay. Alright, what we also need to do to overcome people pleasing is we need to practice setting good boundaries. We need to learn how to say no. And we need to practice setting boundaries around our time and our energy so that we can avoid overextending ourselves and feeling resentful. Alright. We're going to practice this right now. I'm going to ask you to do something, and I want you to tell me no. Chat, it would make me feel really happy if you got up and you did 30 jumping jacks right now. Would you please do that for me? It would just make my day. It would make me so happy if you just got up and did 30 jumping jacks right now. It's okay to tell me no. Please tell me no. Was there a part of you that was just like, well, I know he told me to say no, but maybe he was just testing me and he said it would make him happy, so maybe I should do it? Congratulations, you passed. No is a complete sentence. That is true. I've also been preaching the importance of exercise, so it was a tricky one. See, if I didn't make it at least a little bit tricky, then you wouldn't have fallen for it. I had to make it a little bit tricky. Alright, another really important thing to start practicing is your assertiveness. Being assertive is all about expressing your own needs and desires in a clear and respectful way. And this also ties together with learning how to say no. And we're doing this without violating the rights of others. So we don't need to be an asshole, but we want to be assertive. Assignment failed, just finished the 30 jumping jacks. Okay, I couldn't believe it, but I did 30. You know, the assignment was to tell me no and to not do the jumping jacks, but if you did the jumping jacks anyway, you still win. There were no wrong answers. But next time, it's okay to say no. So what does assertiveness look like? Let's say that somebody asks you to do something, but you just can't do it. What is an assertive way that you can do that? One of the things that I like to recommend is don't apologize for saying no. Because that implies that saying no is doing something wrong. And this is something that I catch myself doing. And I try to make sure that I remove the apology from my vocabulary. Like, hey, can you stay late today? No, I won't be able to do that. Being assertive is about being firm and direct, but not being a dick. But what being assertive is not, being assertive is not saying, oh, gee, I don't know, I'll have to think about it, maybe, probably not, I do have this thing that I needed to do, but, ooh, I don't know. Like, no, just, if you can't do it, tell them, I cannot do that. No need to apologize. They asked you for something, and you said no. That's it. Another really important aspect of changing your people-pleasing behaviors is to start challenging your beliefs. What you need to do is you need to examine the beliefs and assumptions that underlie your people-pleasing behaviors. Why is it that I engage in these behaviors? What sort of feelings am I trying to avoid by engaging in people-pleasing behaviors? Why is it that I do this? It's like if I tell them no, like, okay, well, I'm afraid to tell them no. Why? Why are you afraid to tell them no? For what reasons specifically? So when you identify like, okay, well, I'm worried about telling them no. Take it a step further. Examine it. Why am I worried about saying no? It's like, well, if I tell them no, then they're just going to get mad at me. Like, okay, what if they do get mad at you? That's on them. Because they'll hate me? Think about a time in your life when somebody said no to you. Did you end up hating them? Did you end up never talking to them again? One of the things that's also really important is to make a distinction between a person of authority and your parent. When you grow up, the first instance of authority is your parents or your caregivers. And so one of the things that we carry on into adulthood is we have a similar style of relationship, and we lean on these old behaviors that date back to when we were a kid. I can't say no to my boss for the same reason why I can't say no to my parents. So it may be helpful to remind yourself that it's okay to say no. I'm not going to be punished for setting a boundary. I'm being fair to myself. Or maybe it could be, you know, I said yes last time and there are other people who could help instead, so it is fair that someone else steps up this time. I don't need to be the one who steps up every time. Because that's not being fair to myself, that's just going to lead me to be burnt out and resentful. And that's not sustainable. So this is a really important aspect of overcoming people-pleasing behaviors, is you need to identify these beliefs as they arise within you and start challenging them. Identify the ways that they might be inaccurate or unhelpful. Like, if I tell my boss no, he's not going to spank me. And if he does, where do you work? And are they hiring? Joking. I'm joking. My boss spanks me. Do you work from home? Alright, some of the key takeaways here. Being a people pleaser can be a difficult habit to break, but it is possible, and the key here is intentional effort. You need to recognize, I am working on changing my people pleasing behaviors. Identify what those behaviors are. You know, we want to treat it seriously, and we want to put some real effort into it. What beliefs are tying into this? What about the way that I was raised? What about my experiences in life? What sort of things have led to me developing these behaviors? And then we need to work on challenging those beliefs. By identifying your values, practicing self-care, setting boundaries, practicing assertiveness, and challenging your beliefs, you can break the cycle of people-pleasing. And you can cultivate healthier relationships with yourself and with others. I want you to look at yourself a little bit differently. I want you to consider yourself as someone that you have a relationship with. I want you to treat yourself with the same love and affection that you would treat anybody else. Where are my people pleasers at? Also, lastly, remember that change takes time and effort. But the rewards of living in alignment with your own needs and desires are well worth it. This will help you to be more genuine and authentic. All right, people pleasers, I've got one for you. How about this? People pleasers, it would make me really happy if you practiced some good self-care today. Could you do that for me, please? Could you just take 30 minutes to just do absolutely fucking nothing? You know, take a bath, do some stretching, do something creative, maybe do some journaling. It would just make me so happy if you could do that. You think you could do that for me? Do you think you could have that done for me by tomorrow? People pleasers tend to be more hypercritical. Assertive people tend to be more hypocritical. Start identifying self-critical analysis as intrusive thoughts you don't need. You know you are good. If this was a classroom, substitute scholar would be like a TA. You'd be like you'd be the teacher's assistant. You'd be like one of my. I would make you grade the tests. All right. Any questions? Any questions? This was helpful? You're welcome. Just most importantly, give yourself the time you need to change these behaviors. It really slows our progress when we become very demanding of ourselves. We demand ourselves to change quickly. And so what I would like for you to do is just start identifying times when you start to engage in these types of thoughts or these types of behaviors and recognize that these are moments where we can start practicing something new. Are we cured now? It's an ongoing process. It's working. Who did I originally write this PowerPoint for? Did I write it for you, B. Wayne? And you said that you were a former people pleaser, so I guess it worked. Well. How are we feeling? Tell me how you're feeling. Substitute Scholar, thank you for gifting that sub to Rorschach. Illustrious. Ooh. Alright, so what are you going to do for your self-care today? That's your homework assignment. That's your homework assignment today. You need to do a little bit of self-care, so what are you going to do? Are you going to do some journaling? Are you going to do your laundry? Are you going to take a nice shower? Are you going to brush your teeth? Are you going to go for a walk? What are you going to do? A joint and then a bath. Bong and a blintz? Smoke and a pancake? Cigar and a crepe? Would putting a hanging plant up count as self-care? I'll allow it. I potted a plant today that needed to get potted, and I enjoyed doing it. Self-care can be almost anything. That's the thing about self-care. It's about taking time to just prioritize your own needs and your own wants. And we live in a society that will make you feel guilty or shameful for doing that. Like, no, you gotta stay on that grind. You gotta keep hustling. Just work harder. Life is not all about living for other people's benefit. It is also about living for your benefit. Oh, hold on. We got another question. All right, here we go. When should you have life figured out? Figured out as in yourself, occupation, housing, wife, kids, etc. Never. Never. Stay curious. Keep asking questions. Keep learning more about all of those things. Learn something about yourself every day. You will always be a work in progress. So keep working until the end. Life is a musical thing, and it helps to sing or dance while the music is being played. I feel like we grow up in stages. We're always growing, always changing, always learning more. And so there's always more to be figured out. There's always more to be discovered. And I think that might sound frustrating or that might sound unsatisfactory, but if you can adopt a growth mindset, I think it's actually really cool that there's always more to be discovered. And that there will be some questions that we just never find out the answer to. There's just so much mystique in life. I don't feel like anybody truly figures it out. They just figure out what works best for them. And that's what it's all about. Because what works for one person might not work for another person. So there's no one way. There's only your way. So figure out what that is. Figure out what works best for you and embrace it. Live life at your own pace. If you want to go back to school at 80 years old, do it. If you want to get remarried when you're 90, do it. If you want to get up and move across the country, do it. But don't beat yourself up for not doing things at a different point in time. You did them when you were ready to do them, and there was no other time to do it. If you haven't done it yet, you simply weren't ready to do it. You want to meet me IRL? San Diego TwitchCon. I'll be in San Diego. This was me and Pure Chess Lover meeting up in real life.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
What's the matter? CIA got you pushing too many pencils? Isn't TwitchCon for streamers who are really big? No. Also, I don't think I'm gonna get a ticket to the convention. I just want to go to San Diego. I've been to 2 TwitchCons and they were kind of boring. I don't think that was the gotcha you think it was. You're like, haha, number not big. Gotcha. Oh, you got me. My spouse and I just agreed to divorce. It is something that I wanted and kind of forced by withdrawing from the relationship after I realized we weren't compatible and it wasn't worth fighting to change. I feel like a weight is coming off of me in some sense, but I also feel untethered and it is scary. Is this just going to be a grieving process for a while, even if it was something I needed? You bring up a really good point. Sometimes we feel that feeling of grief and loss, even when it is something that we have been desiring losing or getting over. This is part of the reason why some people have such a hard time letting go of like trauma, for example, is because when you hold on to something for so long, we have a way of convincing ourselves that it's supposed to be there and we're supposed to hang on to it. Because the unknown is frightening. But it can also be exciting. So I feel like, yeah, there will be some moments of uncertainty, but I would just try to focus on the feelings of excitement. There might be moments where you look back and you feel sad or you feel a sense of loss, and that's normal. That's because, you know, even though the relationship didn't work out, and even though, you know, you just weren't meant to be together, there will still be times where you look back and you're like, oh yeah, we did have some good times. There were some good moments there. It wasn't all bad. Because that's what relationships are. If they were entirely bad, they wouldn't last. There's always some good tucked in there. That's why they continue for as long as they do. So yeah, it'll be a little scary, it'll be a little sad, but it can also be exciting. And so I would just try to look forward to that aspect of it. How do I deal with a coworker? Unofficially, she's higher up the food chain that plays the age card, such as, you should listen to me because I'm older. I told her to take a hike multiple times, but it's getting frustrating. Next time someone says to you, you should listen to me because I'm older, this is what I want you to do. I want you to look at them and I want you to say this. Why? Why? It's a 3-letter word we learn to use when we're 2 years old. And it's still tremendously effective in adulthood. Whenever someone states something as if it is fact, and it doesn't pass the sniff test, it's a really easy way to put it back onto that person and say, explain why that is the way that it is. What is your logic behind this? Why should I believe what you are saying is truth? Another alternative would just be to use the tried and true technique of saying, okay, I hear you. But then just going on with your life, just forgetting whatever it was that they said. That also works. So it just depends on how confrontational you want to be. You could also lie and say that you're older than them. Just be like, how old are you? It's like, no way. You were born in that year? Oh, wait, I'm actually 2 years older than you. But realistically, I feel like this is just your coworker trying to reaffirm their own position, trying to feel validated in their life. So I would just dismiss it and just try to let it go. I would just say, okay. Just hit him with the okie dokie. Give them their illusion of a win and then go on about your day. Because if you come at them in a confrontational way, they might double down on trying to reassert their age-related dominance. So I think my response to this would be an over-enthusiastic, all right, I hear you. Thank you for your input. I will take that into consideration. There's just a lot of, like, semi-dismissive ways that you can respond to these types of statements. Because it sounds like, I don't know, if she's not really doing it for any valid reason, she's just doing it to try to, you know, make you feel inferior, then I guess I would just give it, I would just give her what she wants, but then just go on with your day. Just be like, okay, so she wants to say, oh, hey, you should actually be doing this instead. Like, oh, okay. Thank you. And then just keep doing what you're doing. Give her the illusion of control. She wants to feel like she has control over you. So give her the illusion of control, because that's one of the things that works for people. They don't actually have to have real, genuine control. They just need the illusion that they are in control. So just give her the illusion of control. It's annoying, but most work is annoying. Or just ask her to talk to you about her kids. Like, hey, what are your kids up to? You got grandkids? You got any pictures? Could you show us any techniques to feel centered? Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do it. Alright. Where I would like for you to focus on for this is what I like to do to feel centered. And so I like to try to direct my focus to my solar plexus. It's that point right beneath your ribs, in the center there. What I find really important in feeling centered is feeling balanced on both sides, left and right, and then bringing my hands to the middle so that I am symmetrical. I'm balanced on both sides. And then I want to take a big deep breath in through my nose. And I want to push out from that center point there, that yellow dot, that solar chakra. So we want to take a big deep breath in. Try to remain as balanced and symmetrical as we can, and we want to just focus on that center point within our body. Just try to feel as balanced as you can. What you will notice is that when you try to focus on the feeling of balance and on the feeling of centeredness, your body knows what to look for, because your body has a sense of equilibrium. It has a sense of balance. It uses your nerve endings, it uses your inner ear to determine your spatial orientation and your balance. So focus on feeling centered, and then try to increase that feeling. And what you will discover is that centeredness is a sensation that you can continue to increase the more that you focus on it. So, big deep breath. Pushing out from that center point in your diaphragm. Feeling balance on both sides of your body. Then let it go. This is part of the reason why, you look at these images of like monks and meditators and things like that. There's a reason why they do it in a position like this, is because it contributes to that sensation of centeredness, and it allows you to continue looking inwards, trying to find where that center is. So all you need to do is just start looking for it. Start recognizing what feeling centered feels like to you, and then continue to expand that feeling. And what you'll realize is that it is something that you can go deeper and deeper into. If you really want to get into it, meditate on it. Meditate on trying to find your center. And one of the things that you'll start to notice is you'll start to notice the ways in which you are off balance, the ways in which you are uncentered. And you'll get an idea of the areas of your body and of your mind that you need to work on in order to become more centered. Feel me? Another way to do it, if you're just trying to do it quickly, you just want to try to feel balanced and centered, is I like to put my hands in the middle. Or I will, a lot of people will do this. This can also help you to feel more centered. Our hands are a source of a great deal of sensory information. And so when we put our focus into our hands and we put our hands in a centered position, it can help us to feel more centered, more aware, more in tune. There were times when I would be meditating and I'd be like, I'm going to try to find my center. And then I feel like I got there, and then I feel like I was just scratching the surface. I felt like there were layers upon layers upon layers, and I could just keep going deeper and deeper down. I can go further and further in to find where that center is. Definitely need to strengthen my core. Oh, that reminds me, it's core day. It's core day at the gym. Have you ever heard anyone say that calling people toxic actually brings infectious pandemics into the world? My sister said this to me and it sounded very delusional, to be honest. Well, it's because it is. Also, I was having a discussion with someone else about toxic personal interactions, and it felt like she was actually trying to start an argument with me. I ignored the comment. Good for you. Good for you. Honestly, being able to recognize when someone is just starting a fight for no reason and then not engaging is a great sign of emotional maturity. Hey, remember when you said that you were always right 100% of the time and then you used the wrong form of then? Oh wait, no, you did use the right form, but you were still wrong because you're more toxic than any woman in this community. Take a timeout. Take a timeout. No, recognizing people's toxic behaviors does nothing to bring infectious pandemics into the world. That is a delusion. That is a delusion. We are being this is a delusion. I have never heard anyone else say that before. I've never heard anyone else say that before. This is new to me. It's news to me. It's like, no, you can't celebrate your own rightness and your own ego and then also make sweeping generalizations. That's like Logic 101. All right. I'm starting to get sweaty. How close are we to our sub goal? Oh, we're 1 subscriber away from our sub goal. Let's manifest it. Maybe calling people toxic doesn't bring infectious pandemics into the world. Because here's the thing. There were many infectious pandemics in the world long before we started calling people toxic. The Black Plague, the Spanish flu, just to name a few. There were many infectious pandemics long before we started calling people toxic. But I'm trying to understand the logic here. I'm trying to understand the logic. It's like, oh my god, there was a pandemic and it started around the time that people started using toxic as a way of describing other people's behaviors. It must be related. This is a head scratcher. But yeah, no, there's zero correlation. And, you know, viruses and contagions, bacterium, they've been here for longer than we have. And so, yeah, it is a little bit delusional to say that we, through our choice of words, can influence it. But I think we can manifest hitting that sub goal. I think we can manifest hitting that sub goal. We're one away. I think we can manifest it. If we just think hard enough, if I just say someone will subscribe or someone will gift a sub, someone will use their Amazon Prime, and we will hit that sub goal, it will happen. We're manifesting it. We're manifesting it. Or maybe it won't happen. It worked! It worked! When there were 15, thank you for gifting that sub. We did it. We did it! We did it, Joe. We did it, Joe! Thank you for that gifted sub. Alrighty, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for hanging out today. Don't forget your homework assignment. You need to do something nice for yourself today. Or else. If you don't practice some good self-care today, ooh, I'm gonna be so mad. Ooh, I'm gonna be so upset. I'm trying to use your people-pleasing behaviors in such a way that you can actually break free from the cycle of people-pleasing. It's actually 4D chess. All right, everybody. Have a great night. Have a great life. We'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.